Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the biggest enemy in your life isn't the lack of time, money, or even luck? What if I told you that the real obstacle lies in what you avoid doing every single day, truly thinking? Henry Ford, one of the greatest visionaries in history, said a phrase that few people have the courage to face. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason so few engage in it. And he was right. Because thinking hurts. Thinking requires stopping, reflecting, questioning. Thinking means going against the autopilot that keeps you comfortable, yet stagnant. Now I ask you, how long will you accept living on autopilot? How long will you keep repeating ready-made opinions, following paths everyone else takes, without asking yourself if that's really your path? It's very easy to live by repeating. It's easy to hide behind excuses. It's easy to say, you have no choice, that life is already mapped out. But what truly requires courage is to stop and reflect. What requires discipline is silencing the outside noise and listening to your own thoughts. Does this make sense to you? I'd love to earn your like. It really motivates me to keep going, continuing. It's exactly in this place, where few dare to enter, that great transformations are born. Have you noticed how humanity's greatest achievements began with someone who dared to think differently? They weren't special people by nature. They weren't born with an unreachable gift. They were ordinary people who decided to face the challenge most run away from. The challenge of thinking. Now reflect. How many times have you had an idea that could change something in your life, but let it die because someone said it was too risky? How many times did you give up before even trying because you believed it wouldn't work? And what if that very idea was the one meant to change the course of your story? Thinking requires effort, courage, and discipline. But every great achievement you admire today started exactly like this, as a simple thought, an invisible seed that once nurtured, transformed into reality. The problem is that many prefer to kill their seeds before even planting them. Maybe you think, but I'm not creative enough. I don't have the intelligence of a genius. I'm not capable of imagining great things. Is that really true? Or is it that you've simply never given your mind the space to express itself? Because the truth is, every mind is creative. What kills creativity is not lack of ability, but an excess of fear. How many times have you let doubt decide for you? How many times have you given up because you didn't know exactly what was going to happen? And what if what you call insecurity is actually life giving you the push you need to step out of your comfort zone? Henry Ford didn't change the world because he waited for the perfect moment. He didn't revolutionize the industry because he had all the answers. He did it because he dared to think differently while everyone else was too busy asking for faster horses. And here's the great lesson. Sometimes you're asking for too little because you're afraid of asking for too much. Sometimes you settle for crumbs because you believe you don't deserve the feast. But is that really true? What if what you call reality is only the reflection of your lack of courage to think bigger? What if you could dream higher? What if you could see beyond the obvious? What would happen if today you gave voice to a thought that's been inside you, waiting for just a little confidence to bloom? The world is full of people who gave up too soon. People who had talent, had ability, but surrendered to fear. But it's also full of examples of people who had nothing more than an idea and turned that idea into something that impacted millions. Which of these stories do you want to write? Think about this. Every person you admire had doubts. Every one of them felt fear. Every one of them heard criticism. But the difference between them and those who were left behind is that instead of suffocating their thoughts, they chose to feed them. They believed it was possible. And you? Will you keep doubting yourself? Will you keep letting others do the thinking for you? Maybe you're waiting for a sign, a certainty, a final push. But the truth is, that moment will never come. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And now is the only place where you can begin to change your story. So I ask you, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What idea would you put into action if you weren't trapped by the opinions of others? What dream would you dare to dream again if you truly believed it was possible? The difference between surviving and truly living is right here, in accepting the challenge of thinking, in choosing to reflect when everyone else is distracted, in daring to question what seems unquestionable. Thinking can be painful. Thinking can be exhausting, but it is the only path for those who want more than just repeating what already exists. And you know this. Deep down, you feel you were made for more. You feel you weren't born just to survive, but to transform. And that's why you're listening to this message right now. So I'll leave you with one last reflection. Will you keep living in silence, asking only for faster horses? Or will you dare to think differently and create the life you truly desire? The choice is yours. It always has been. And before we finish, share this audio with a friend and subscribe to our channel. Here, you'll always find reflections to help you in your daily life. See you next time.